I believe we're live again. Round 2. Yeah. So I'm on some of the centerpieces and things that I want to do. So it's going to be adventure. I'm going to make a mess. A beautiful, glorious mess. So I have one book here that I have already done one layer of color on. I've got a new book that I want to put color on. And then I have some pages that I want to somehow do. This is a multimedia project. I have no idea where any of this is going. I'm just playing around with it. I'm seeing what I can create, and of course these are the colors that I'm using. The goal here is to make a beautiful mess. That's all I got. Hi, Shay! Yeah, it's a wedding DIY. These are the books that I have collected from my bookshelf of books that I'm probably not going to read again, but I'm okay with decorating and putting back on my shelf in these beautiful different colors. So right here, like I said, this is the first layer of paint I put on one of the books, and then I want to paint this book. I'm going to Mod Podge some random stuff onto the covers, and we're just going to see what happens. I've got no rhyme or reason to anything that I am doing right now. We're just gonna do this. So this is the first victim of the day. Ooh, spine needs to be broken in a little more. It's one of my bigger books, which is probably why it's not gonna lay flat. But that's okay. I'm gonna move these out of the way. Maybe. I am thinking, how do I want to do this? Do I want to do some pinks and some blues? Or do I want to go more of the neutral and do some more browns in different colors? I think I am feeling a little vibrant today. So we're going to do some of the brighter colors, especially on this black. It'll show up well. Yeah, I enjoyed this book not so much. So I'm okay with, I love Beauty and the Beast, but I just don't think that the Twisted Tales by Disney is for me. Don't think I'm the right age group for that anymore. So as you can see, this is going to take a lot of layers, which is fine. This is an adventure. I've tried doing this many different methods. Sometimes I've used a paintbrush and I've used a palette. Sometimes I've just squirted right on the book and I started using these sponge things. I find that it just goes quicker when you just do it straight on the book. You get some cool different effects when you use a paintbrush rather than a sponge. But yeah. So I'm just going to continue to choose the random different versions of my pink, because theoretically I have two different pinks. I've got a darker pink and a lighter pink. I'm usually that weirdo at Hobby Lobby or Michael's that has a bunch of color swatches in my hand, putting them against all of the bottles and papers and everything else, making sure that they're the right shade or they're the right tone. I'm limited in the amount of trips I'm allowed to take because I embarrass whoever I take there. It's a thing. I actually went to a Hobby Lobby just yesterday because I had a gift card and bought a whole bunch of stuff. I'm really, really dangerous in that store, as evidenced by all these random craft projects I get myself into. But it's fine. I enjoy it. I don't usually let myself just do nothing for very long. I usually find something else that I can do, or something I can be doing with my hands. Okay. Flip that over. And then we're gonna start with some of the blue. Maybe. We got this. Right now I'm just doing a lot of small projects for the wedding. Of course, I'm continuing to do a lot of my paper flowers. I've got a lot of these books to do. What else do I got? I've got some picture frames and things that I want to do that is going to be like the signage and things for underneath the pots that I'm going to put the vases, the jars, whatever, that I'm going to put the flowers in. So yeah, it's a bunch of little things. I'm actually thinking about how I want to do flowers in my hair, some of the paper flowers in my hair. I'm not 100% sure how I want to do that. Still figuring that one out. But otherwise, it's just, there's a couple big things that we still need to figure out. I mean, food, alcohol, we have to do taste testing and deciding all of that. But otherwise, there's nothing too traumatizing left to do. Oh, I'm not at all a paint person, which is why this is basically as in-depth as I can get with paint. So I can get different colors smushed together, but I can't make art. I mean, I guess this is a form of art in a way, but paint is definitely not my medium of choice. If I have to do something like this, yeah, sure. But if I'm doing something that, I don't know how am I going to explain this. I'm not realistic with paint. Uh-oh, this may have dried on me. Wah! That's okay. We're just gonna run with it. It's fine. Yeah, that paint's starting to separate. I need to shake it up a little bit. But I like experimenting with different medias as long as I don't have like huge expectations for what the results should look like. Otherwise, I tend to get into that weird perfectionist mode, and that's when people usually tell me that I have to step away, because I have a tendency to do that sometimes if I'm not careful. And since this is just like the first layer of everything that I want to do, I'm not being too picky about it, as long as I get some undercolor on it. Because, like I said, I'm hoping to Mod Podge and then paint some more stuff over top of it. So a lot of times it's just experimenting. A lot of experimenting. still got some of that black peeking through. So I'm gonna go in with a little more pink, maybe. There we go. Hold on. Gotta get the extra water off my sponge. Otherwise that would not end well. Same time, I don't want the paint to dry onto the sponge. Okay, there we go. Now we got some different colorations going on. I like it. Ta-da! Like I said, it's really, really complicated. So stinking complicated. I'm going to let that dry over here. And then we're going to start playing around a little bit with the Mod Podge. See how this goes. This is a ginormous jar of Mod Podge. I got it off of Amazon. 32 fluid ounces. I can do some serious damage with this if I can get the jar open. I am smarter than the foil. Maybe not. We might have to do this the old-fashioned way. I got a stick. Yeah. I'm very sophisticated in my arting, let me tell you. Of course, now it's gonna come off in like 30 different pieces. Oh goodness. Okay. Well, that's open far enough. I can get my sponge into that. Especially now that I have it all over my fingers. Okay. Now, I haven't 100% decided on how I'm going to do this. Figured I'd just like tear a few pieces of paper and just periodically put it places. Something kind of to that effect. You know, this is very sophisticated. Something, you could kind of, it's a place to start, right? I have a feeling that there's going to be lots of layers of things all over this until I finally decide that, that'll work. Because like, I want to come back over all of this with more paint and blend this all in so it kind of looks like there's words popping out of the paint, and then Mod Podge the whole thing to give it a protective coat, since these are going to be outside in the elements. And right now they have a very like textured matte appearance because of the paint. And if you stack too many of these together for too long, they start to pull paint off of each other, which is not good. So I actually started some of these books maybe 9 or 10 months ago. This has been a long project for me, and I'm okay with that. The only danger with that is I keep on thinking of new ideas and new things that I can attempt to do. But now I've only got 3 months, so I have to stop thinking of projects, and I have to finish the projects that I already got. I don't know how well that's gonna stay there. That might break off as soon as I attempt to close the book. Like I said, I'm experimenting. So how have all of your guys' weekend been so far? I have been, besides these projects, reading Flame in the Mist, and I've been enjoying that a lot. I didn't know how I was gonna feel jumping straight into that after reading Alana, but I'm actually enjoying it. I mean, they've got some of the same trope ideas, but they are absolutely nothing alike. Well, I'm glad it's your day off too, because then we get to hang out together and decide on what random nonsense I should be doing. I figured I would switch back and forth between doing some of these and doing my coloring when I do these live streams, or just whatever I feel like for the day. Well, that was one way to do that. I've got no rhyme or reason to what I want to do. Just want to sit here, be creative, and talk to you guys. That is, I guess, my plan. Okay. So we got some on that book. I'm using just really cheap acrylic paint, and since I'm not glooping it on too thick, it doesn't take it all that long to dry, which is nice because that means while this is drying, the Mod Podge, I can go back to this one, see if I can add some onto that. Well, I'm glad that my videos are, or these live streams are fascinating to some people. At least something to listen to in the background. I need to decide the kinds of things that I want to talk about when I do these things, because oh my goodness, I'm not used to continuously talking as I do stuff at all. So if I go quiet, just start poking at me be like, April, you are on a live stream right now, and you've got some dead air going on. You probably want to say a few words every now and then. Hearts. I might have to experiment with hearts. My fiance actually makes fun of me a little bit because I'm not an overly sappy person. I'm actually not sappy at all. So I can be a little awkward at times. Imagine that. Me awkward. No. But yeah, I am. But I have people who put up with me, so I guess that's okay. I've got absolutely no rhyme or reason to this. Just randomly throwing them down. I've got a lot of long pieces. What if I break some of that up? Okay, there we go. Feels a little more natural. Maybe. The one interesting thing about doing all of these DIYs from books on my shelf that I know I'm not going to read again is that they're, of course, all different ages and all different types. So the pages all look different. They're all various shades of white, some of them darker than others, which means my flowers and things have slight variances to them. And I really like it. There's something about old books and old book smells that just fascinates me. I don't know. Is that weird? Does anybody else understand that phenomenon? Just liking old books and being surrounded by old books? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love a new book too. But when they start to get that loved aged appearance, that's my favorite. Because you know it's been appreciated for what it is. So you will not find a lot of books that are in premium condition on my shelf. I tend to break the binding. I am not overly careful about what I'm doing while I am reading. Okay, there are exceptions to that. When I have a book that I have signed by an author, sometimes I'll be a little more careful with that one, but not by much. Plus, I don't know what it is, but both of the girls really like to rub their faces up against my books and the pages of the books. So that usually ends up with crinkled pages a lot of the time. Oh yeah, I have some of the original Harry Potter books that I read from as well. I stole them from my parents because I knew they didn't care. Okay, I didn't steal them. I asked politely. My mom's like, yeah, sure, take them. So I have all of the originals but the first one. The first book we got into paperback, and since it went through all of our hands at various points in time, it just disintegrated. It fell apart. But otherwise, I have the first edition of all the Harry Potter books. And I will keep them forever, even though they're not my favorite covers. Some of the covers that have come out recently are absolutely gorgeous, but I don't think I would replace mine for the world, just because of those memories. And then, of course, I've been going back through the Tortal series, and a lot of those are some of the original paperbacks and the original hardbacks too, and those are what I first read all of those on. And once again, while I have no connection to the covers or anything, the fact just looking at them brings back all the memories of when I first read those books, and it's amazing. And so none of them match, but that is fine. There's something about finding those books from when you were young and finding them in the editions that you first read them in. Something a little magical about that. And this is why I have a bookish theme wedding. Because I could sit here and I could talk about books all day. I'm going to have a nice layer of hodgepodge all over my fingers by the time we're done with it. Which maybe will help me grow out my nails. I am ridiculously hard on my hands. I have yet to meet a polish that'll stay on my fingernails for longer than 24 hours. It's bad. And so, like I said, my nails get a certain length and then they just snap on me. I'd love to be one of those people who have these beautifully done hands, but yeah, that's just not realistic. Not when I continuously do stuff like this. That and working with the dogs at the Humane Society. Some of them are extremely rowdy and bigger than me, and so I have to be the alpha dog, I guess, and usually that involves running into door frames, kennel doors, being jerked around on leashes. It's great fun. I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. I have heard about the jamboree wraps, but the funny thing is, even that, when I put it on my nails, and maybe I'm just not getting the seal right or whatnot, but they'll start lifting away from my nails. Don't know what it is. I do have my hands in water a lot, so that might play. I'm bad at protecting my hands. I know I should probably be wearing gloves when I do dishes or other cleaning or giving the cats a bath or whatnot, but I have yet to find ones that actually fit my hands. I have tiny little baby hands, as I like to call them. So that's a thing. Ooh, we're slowly getting more people. Hello to everybody in the chat. I am just making a mess of random books I have on my shelf. My plan is, after the wedding, when I still have these books, to just use them as decoration around my various different shelves. I like to maybe reuse things. I can't justify doing stuff just for this wedding. Okay, so we're gonna let that dry. And I'm trying to decide if I want to attempt to blend these in with some brown and maybe have like the color peek through. I think I'm going to do that. We're gonna see how this, knocking over paint. Sorry guys. Didn't mean to like scream at you. Okay. We're gonna use a paintbrush for this because I'm assuming that I'm going to need a little more control. We're gonna find out how this goes. Okay, I probably should have. Got some of that off of my paintbrush. So it's more of a dry brush. Like I said, I have literally no idea what I'm doing. I'm just playing around. And if I mess it up, I'll just cover it up with more paint. Oh no, okay, so the desk that I'm currently on is a drafting table, so it's at a slight slant. I have like maybe 20 or so of these acrylic bottles off to the side here, and so they slowly start to slide down the desk. And I may have just knocked a few of the bottles off of the drafting table. So they were all closed, so no big mess, but still. More traumatic than anything else, I think. Yeah, I think I just gooped it too much over here. So I'm probably going to go back over with some blue and start seeing if I can blend all of this together. Yeah, see, I need to not pick up so much paint. Paint and I have a love-hate relationship. We don't always get along quite the way that I want us to. But what can you do? Yep, see? I'm just going to continuously get way too much paint on my paintbrush. It's fine. It's fine. Maybe. And I can not get the rest of the brown. And then just something kind of like that, so we get brown everywhere. And I will, hold on, I need another paper towel. I am so graceful. I'm just gonna fling everything everywhere. Still really, really wet. Okay. And maybe I'm gonna see what happens when I come around it with a sponge rather than a brush. Kind of go back and forth with the two. Maybe something kind of sort of like that. See if I can get the two various colors sort of blended out together. Kind of like that. kind of coming together. Thing about paints is, yeah, definitely layers. Just kind of merge it out a little bit. Oops, that's not good. I have to be careful with my hands, putting pink in the blue area. Definitely gonna have to fix that. Kind of. Bring it out a little bit. Yeah, give it a natural blend. Something makes a little more sense. Come on. There we go. A little bit like that. Yeah, I think it looks much better once you play around with both of them kind of together. Kind of play them off of each other. It's an experiment. Like I said, if it goes horribly wrong, I can just start over. I've got, let's see, how many books have I already painted? Got maybe 12 or so that have already got this first layer on it. And then I have another 11 or so that I can start. They're still naked. They don't have anything on them yet. So like I said, it's something I can play around with and figure out as I go. Granted, I don't have forever to figure this out, but it's still something I'm not gonna stress myself. Whew. I'm gonna make a mess. It's the only way to do this. So what do you guys want to see in the next stream? Possibly next Sunday. Think about maybe going back to the coloring books for a little while. Or maybe doing some flowers. I don't know. I am open to suggestions. Yeah, way too much brown around that. I need to work with the brush strokes that I already have. Going all kinds of different directions. There we go. Because these are more up and down. Kind of like that. Probably come back in with the darker blue too. I've also thought about possibly starting out with the papers before I do the color. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna play around a little bit with all of them. No two of these books are going to be the same. That is for sure. Definitely. Some of the... Why won't you come out? Ah! There we go. Kind of like that. Oh, I think I got too much. Bring it. There we go. Bring some of that darker blue in there. It's like I don't want to cover up the paper too much, but at the same time I don't want it to stick out too much. So it's finding that blend between the two. You need to get some brown on that corner there. There we go. Because otherwise it looks weird when you've got brown everywhere else and there's that one spot that for whatever reason hasn't been touched by the brown. There we go. I don't remember what book this is, but there's this little bug shape in the corner. I don't know if you can see that, but it's embossed on the page and it makes me smile a little bit. A little bit down there. There we go. And kind of like that. I don't know. It's a starting point. I mean, there's the front. And then of course the binding on the back. See, I was wondering if I was gonna break the paper when I closed it back up. But that's okay. It's still kind of fun. It's got this rusticy kind of feel that I'm going for. Maybe I'll think of other things to continue on with this, but I think I'll just let this one sit for a little while. And then we'll do some of the same stuff with this one, since that was a bit of an experiment. I think we kind of got a method down now. Probably do something similar with the brown on this one, since I've already got the paint out. Maybe. Just kind of add a little bit here and there. And I'll come back with some of the pink and blue. This time I'm going to make sure I keep my brush strokes in the same direction as all the other ones. I think that's where I failed a little bit on that first one. Yeah, I'm trying to get as little brown on my paintbrush as I can, but see, like there, I kind of go a little crazy. And I think next time I do the Mod Podge too, I'm gonna have to keep my brush strokes up and down because you can kind of see a little bit of the brush strokes there too, which might not be a bad thing. It could add a layer of texture, so that's kind of cool. I'm just gonna run with it. Whatever I got, I'm just gonna run. And there's definitely more pages on this one, which I think I like a little more. That first one, that's just the only page I had left of that book, because I painted all of the other pages inside of that book and did little flower hole punches out of them, and then I put a bunch of those flowers inside of the save the dates and the wedding invites, so that when you open them up they kind of flew everywhere, but they weren't as obnoxious as glitter. Though I did threaten to do that to a few people. I figured I'd be kind and do something that wouldn't stay around for ages, even though you vacuum like 30 times. These pages are definitely brighter than the other one. Trying to keep the pressure light. That seems to be helping not add too much of the brown. But, yep, I went a little crazy with that one. It's fine. We got this. Kind of like that. At least as a starting point. Move the Mod Podge out of the way. And just kind of do that. Maybe I'll get some of the paint off of my paintbrush. What did I read this past week? Well, I finished the first Song of the Linus. Wow, English, April, go. Okay, I finished the first of the Song of the Linus book, of course, Alana, the first adventure. Of course, Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. Oh my goodness, that book just knocked me on my back and laid me out for who knows how long. Like, I don't know how I'm going to process all of this book right now. And then of course, you're gonna have to wait years for the next book in that series. It's the only thing about getting into high fantasy that sometimes is a little devastating. Is you just can't guarantee you're gonna get the next book in any timely fashion. I also finished off all of the saga that I got for Christmas. My fiance got me 1 through 7, and I read the last 5 of them, I believe. Still not 100% sure how I feel about that series. I get a lot of the messaging that they're trying to pull through that, but sometimes I feel like pieces of it are unnecessary, and I just don't enjoy them. But Lion Cat is amazing, and that's probably because I have a slight affinity for Hairless cats, maybe? I don't know. That's probably it. Definitely too thick. Yeah. I feel like there was that all I read this week? I have been on and off reading Girls of Glass and Snow. I think that's the title of it. But I just haven't gotten into that one yet. So I'm only about 60 or so pages in. I don't even know. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what Brandon Sanderson does with Skyward. I'm excited to see what that brings. I believe we have a kitty down here somewhere. Yeah, I can hear you, baby girl. Yeah. She just came down here, decided to cry, and then went straight back upstairs. Okay then. Okay, I need to get some more of the dark blue everywhere. Yeah, Saga is one of those gritty graphic novels, so I have to pace myself with it. It's not something that I could have binged at all. I had to read something else and then come back. Because there's a lot to it, and then it takes a very sexual view on everything. Like, everything. And sometimes, I mean, there's a lot of strong women in it, but at the same time, they're always extremely sexualized. And I don't know. I'm all for empowering women, and sometimes, yes, that means taking back our bodies and all of that. But, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, dang it, there was a lot of brown on that. Blend it out a little bit. Kind of like that. But yeah, overall, I think I'm almost on book 10 of the year. But I think it is mainly because of those graphic novels. I don't think it'd be nearly that far otherwise. Trust me, I'm not trying to go at any kind of fast pace. Just trying to enjoy the process of building these books. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. I'm apologizing before I do. And of course, as soon as I say that, I no longer have to sneeze. Out over there. I'm gonna have to get some more of the dark blue out. There we go. Nope, that's gonna be too much. Kind of like that. The handle on this brush is so stinking long. I keep hitting everything with it. Kind of. Pepper it around. Bring it up and down. Yeah. Oh, I just realized I was using my paintbrush instead of my sponge. Whoops. That's fine. Sometimes when I'm doing projects like this, I tend to just forget what I'm doing, and then whatever happens, happens. Get some browns interleaved. Kind of like that. Yeah, yeah. I'm liking how this is turning out. I think I have a lighter pink too that we can maybe add some of as well. Yeah. Kind of like that. Blend it all out. I'm going to add a little more brown here and there. Oh, and we got Fia coming to talk to us. So something like that. We got the front and the side and the back. I'm liking how these are turning out. There'll probably be a little more stuff and layers that I add to them later, but I'm liking the grunge factor right now. I'm liking it a lot. And I think I'm just gonna end it here. We've got, yes, Fia, I love you too. I've got these kind of in a state. I'll probably bring a couple more into this level of stuff and then see if there's any more that I want to do with these books. Thank you guys for joining me, and I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.